What's up guys? So Teslas are jam-packed full of features and functions that change all the time through software updates. However, oftentimes simply adding more and more new features just makes doing the simple things more complicated. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through the top 14 tips, tricks and shortcuts that make using your Tesla that little bit easier. Let's get started. First up is Autopilot Co-pilot. When Autopilot is engaged, it takes full control of the steering, braking, and acceleration. However, in certain scenarios, such as when moving off from a stop sign or entering a new speed limit zone, Autopilot can sometimes not react, or else its acceleration response is a little too slow for my liking. In these scenarios, as a driver, you can still take control of the acceleration of the car while leaving Autopilot in control of the rest of the driving functions. This means that when entering new speed limit zones, you can opt to quickly speed up to the new speed limit and then flick down on the gear selector to update the Autopilot speed limit to your current speed. It also means that if Autopilot starts to slow down for an obstacle that's not actually in the drive path, you as the driver can simply press the accelerator and it'll override Autopilot's braking input without disengaging the entire Autopilot system. But perhaps the most interesting aspect of this feature is that if you have a performance Model 3 and you want to scare the living daylights out of any of your passengers, you can actually fully launch the car with full acceleration and leave the steering up to Autopilot so you can go from 0 to 60 hands-free. To quickly switch off the climate control, you would typically tap on the fan icon and then touch the power button. However, a quicker way to switch the system off is simply to tap and hold the fan icon for 2 seconds. This also works for switching off other climate systems, such as the window defroster. To switch the climate system back on without opening the climate control window, simply tap the temperature icon. When driving on Autopilot and entering a new speed limit zone, you'll often notice that you have to manually update Autopilot speed limit using the scroll wheel. A quicker way to do this is to simply tap on the speed limit icon and the Autopilot speed limit will update to match. If you want to set the Autopilot speed limit to the speed that you're currently driving at, you can either flick down once on the gear selector or scroll up once on the right scroll wheel and the Autopilot speed limit will update to match your current speed. Another point to note is that if you want to gracefully disengage Autopilot without pressing the brake or grabbing the steering wheel, you can simply flick up on the gear selector and the system will disengage. If someone sends you their location through a text message or on WhatsApp, you don't need to manually enter the address into the navigation bar. Instead, you can send the address straight to the Tesla using the smartphone app. Simply tap on the location you want to share, open the share sheet, and click the Tesla logo to send the location to the car. The navigation system will then immediately show the location on the touchscreen, and you can set a navigation route with a simple tap. This is very handy if you share your car with other family members, since if someone else is driving the car and you need them to collect something from a specific location, you can just send the location straight to the navigation system remotely without having to shout directions over the phone. The windscreen wipers have always been a source of major contention on the Model 3, since they use machine vision algorithms to detect water droplets on the windscreen, which isn't always 100% reliable, and since there's no manual controls on any of the indicator stalks to control the windscreen wiper speed. If you're ever in a situation where the windscreen wipers aren't working as they should, then you can just press gently on the button on the left indicator stalk, which will activate one swipe of the wipers. At the same time, this will also reveal the wiper control menu on the touchscreen, where you can manually adjust the wiper speed to your liking. If you share your car with someone else, then it's quite likely that you'll have your own custom driver profiles. However, instead of having to manually select your driver profile every time you sit into the car, you can actually get the car to do it automatically for you. And to do this, all you need to do is pair your personal key with your custom driver profile. For example, right now I'm using my phone as my personal key and I want to associate it with my custom driver profile. If you open up the Settings app, tap on Locks and then tap the little profile image next to your phone key, your currently selected driver profile will now be associated with that key. Next, I'm going to select the M3PRT driver profile and associate this profile with my key fob by the same method. Now, if I enter the car with just my phone, then my personal driver profile will be automatically selected. And if I enter the car with just my key fob, then the M3PRT profile will be automatically selected. This means that there's no need to manually select your driver profile when you sit in. However, one thing to note about this system is that if two people with paired keys associated with custom driver profiles sit into the car at the same time, there is no way for the car to tell which one is the driver and which one is the passenger. So in situations like these, you may still have to manually select your driver profile from the list. The dock at the bottom of the touchscreen gives you quick access to some of the most useful features in the Model 3. But a lot of the time you might find yourself having to tap multiple buttons to adjust simple things like the volume or the temperature. However, a quick way around this is to use swipe gestures. If you just swipe across the volume icon, it will adjust the volume without the need to tap to access the slider menu. The same goes for adjusting the temperature. Just swipe across the temperature setting and it will adjust. But the shortcuts don't stop there. If you swipe up on the app switcher, it will automatically open your last used application. And if you swipe up on the music icon, it will open the music window. You can even adjust the size of the window by swiping on the icon rather than swiping on the music window itself, which means you can focus less attention on the screen and more attention on the road. Swipes can also be used in the navigation app. If you swipe down or to the right on the navigation button, it will automatically start a route to your home or work address depending on where you are. And if you want to delete any recent addresses from the navigation drop-down menu, you can simply swipe right to remove them from the list. If you want to quickly access your battery information, you can just tap on the battery icon and it will take you straight to the battery screen. If you're charging, you can also just quickly tap on the green lightning bolt icon and it will also take you to the battery screen. Sticking with the battery, if you set the battery icon to show your remaining battery level in terms of estimated range, you can get a more accurate assessment of projected range by going into the Energy app, where it will display your estimated range based on your driving style over the last 50 kilometers. In my case, you can see quite a significant difference between the range quoted in the Energy app and that shown on the battery icon, so this is something to keep in mind. One thing about the Model 3 is that almost everything is controlled through software. However, as with any complex software system, there are times where it may behave in ways you wouldn't expect. In those cases, most people would know just to restart the system. But the cool thing about the Model 3 is that you can actually restart the touchscreen while you're driving. Simply press down on the two scroll wheels for a couple of seconds and the touchscreen will reboot itself. The obvious downside to this is that for a couple of minutes you'll be driving without any speed or navigation information. But the upside is that if Autopilot is engaged, it will continue to control the car while the touchscreen is rebooting. If you're using dashcam or sentry mode, then whenever you want to remove your memory stick from the car, it's important to remember that you shouldn't just pull it straight out, as this may damage any files that are currently being written to at the time. Instead, to safely eject the drive, you must hold down on the dashcam icon on the touchscreen until it turns grey, and then you can eject the drive without worrying about corrupting any of the data. Voice commands are a pretty underrated feature on Tesla vehicles, especially since the latest software updates have significantly improved the power of these voice controls. Simply click on the right scroll wheel and the voice prompt window will open. From here you can access almost every vehicle function, including commands to fold the mirrors, adjust the steering wheel, set the windscreen wiper speed, to 2, or even navigate to specific websites.
Go to tesla.com.
For a car with so many features, voice commands definitely offer a quick and easy way for new owners to access certain vehicle functions when they're not used to the new touchscreen interface. If you want to quickly see all the charging stations in your area, you can just tap on the navigation screen and touch the lightning bolt icon at the bottom left. This will immediately display a list of most of the chargers in your area, including those provided by the ESB and other third parties, in addition to Tesla's own supercharging stations. If you're driving and you find that the sun is shining through the driver's side window, most people know that they can pull out the sun visor and swivel it around to provide some extra shade. However, what a lot of people don't realise is that the sun visor on the Model 3 actually extends outwards, so you can provide extra shade if the sun is approaching from behind. If you're using Autopilot on the motorway, you might find that your standard driver profile may get a little uncomfortable on longer journeys. In these cases, you can actually create an Autopilot specific driver profile which you can engage when you want a little extra legroom and some more comfort. When you want to enable it, simply tap on the profile menu, select the Autopilot profile, and the seat and steering wheel will adjust position as you're driving. Finally, just before I finish up, I have one final honourable mention, and that is if you want to quickly access the Tesla Theatre or the Tesla Arcade, you can simply triple tap on the Tesla logo at the top of the screen and it'll take you straight there. So that's it for today's video. I hope you found it interesting and maybe learned a few things about the Model 3 that you didn't know before. As always, if you have any questions or suggestions, do let me know in the comments, and until then, I'll see you in the next one.